Good morning. You may have noticed that wonderfully beat-filled music stopped as a sign that we will get started. So good morning again, everyone. Thank you. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 76th Annual Conference on Citizenship. Yay, I heard it in the audience, yes. I am Valerie Lemmie, the Senior Advisor for State and Local Government at the Charles F. Kettering Foundation. We have Dayton is our main campus and an office in Washington as well. And the Kettering Foundation is the lead sponsor for today's conference. I do have a bit of a cold, so please excuse my nasal sound. I normally have a much smoother sounding voice than this. But this year, the National Conference on Citizenship has partnered with the National Civic League to organize and co-present today's events. I have the honor and distinction of serving as a member of the board for both distinguished organizations, each one a critical pillar representing civic life in the United States. The National Conference on Citizenship was chartered by Congress in 1953 with a mandate to strengthen civic life in America by developing ways to make citizenship more effective, support organizations working toward a more active and enlightened citizenry, convene conferences like this one to bring academics, practitioners, and citizens together in service of the public interest. And over our 70-year history, the National Conference, someone chuckled over here, has served as a civic incubator, providing a supportive environment for numerous programs, including the Civic Data Challenge, the Civic 50, the Service Year Alliance, New Public, the Algorithmic Transparency Institute, Pandemic to Prosperity, Black Girls Vote, and Democratic Innovations. In 2009, the Edward M. Kennedy Serve America Act established a partnership among the National Conference on Citizenship, AmeriCorps, and the U.S. Census Bureau to produce a civic health assessment, which constitutes and continues to be used by states and local governments across this country to learn more about the drivers of civic health in their respective communities. The National Conference on Citizenship's annual conference has hosted a diversity of thought leaders from across the political spectrum, including members of Congress, policy advisors, and civic entrepreneurs who are advancing a bold vision of American citizenship, a vision that recognizes democracy is about more than voting. It is about people working together to solve public problems in ways that enhance the quality and character of community life. A view that fosters equity, inclusion, and belonging, and embraces the principles of good government, public accountability, and transparency in support of democratic government. It is this vision we will focus our time and attention on today. This year's co-presenting partner, the National Civic League, founded in 1894 in the period known as the Progressive Era of American politics, by a group of reformers led by people including Teddy Roosevelt, Louis Brandeis, Mary Mumford, and Frederick Law Olmsted. They established what has become America's oldest civic organization that promotes good government, practices, policies, and principles. For example, the League championed the council manager form of government and other democratic innovations in the early 20th century. Since 1902, the Civic League has maintained the Model City Charter. The 9th edition was published last year, which is the legal template for outlining the relationship between government and its citizens. On a personal note, I previously served as city manager for the city of Dayton, Ohio, the first large city to adopt the council manager plan in 1913. I wasn't there then. Today, the mission of the League has expanded to include creating equitable, thriving communities through strategies that support and enhance democratic civic engagement. And you're going to hear these terms, democratic and civic engagement, throughout the day because these are important, really crucibles to the work that we do every day. The League publishes the National Civic Review and hosts the annual All-America City program that recognizes 10 communities annually who have created a culture of democratic civic engagement, a culture in their community to address critical public problems. such as stronger connections among residents, business leaders, civil society, and public institutions, shared ownership of the work to be done in their communities, and where they recognize and leverage community assets and resources that can be leveraged with government and other anchor institutions. What we find is that when people have a stake in the outcome, the term we often use at the foundation is when they're implicated in the work to be done. They have a concern about the nature of the work. They also have a role to play, and they are owners of the work produced. And that ownership makes all the difference in the world in getting people enthusiastic about problems and concerns that matter to them. One of the programs I mentioned earlier, Democracy Innovation, began at the National Conference on Citizenship and has now become the National Civic League's Center for Democracy Innovation. This new center that Matt Leidinger is leading works to understand, evaluate, and disseminate innovations that can make democracy more participatory, equitable, and productive. Both the National Conference on Citizenship and the National Civic League focus on tackling some of the biggest challenges facing our democracy, many of which we will learn more about today. Before we kick off today's proceedings, I would like to take a few moments to honor my fellow board members from both organizations who are in the audience. So would you please stand and let us recognize them.